Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest edition of RE385, where I take old stories I've narrated and update into modern audio standards. This particular story is called Please Take Us to Your Children, written by Law Student. As first contacts went, it wasn't particularly subtle, nor were there communications issues that many suspected there would be when humanity first met a truly alien race. It seems they, or it, as we later found out, had been studying us in preparation. Thus, it was that when a 4-kilometer elongated octahedron of grey metal completed its burn into high Earth orbit, members of the UN Security Council, ensconced in an emergency closed-door meeting to discuss what to do, found their translation as earpieces carrying the voice of a young woman speaking their native tongue. "Greetings from the stars," the voice said. "Please know that I come in peace. I do not wish to interfere in your civilization. I will send a shuttle to your building tomorrow at noon so I can establish a dialogue and answer your questions. Your representative will be welcome inside and free to leave at any time." Much confusion and then debate ensued. The technicians managed to confirm that the message was no prank and had been the result of a sophisticated program that entered the computer running the audio equipment via its Wi-Fi connection and briefly took control of it. This created no small amount of alarm amongst the military-minded, who scrambled to prepare for the prospect of electronic warfare with an unknown technologically superior foe. While the world's defense establishments waited and quietly panicked, it was decided that there was no real better option than going along with the visitor's request. So it was that at the appointed time, an ovoid craft 30 meters long glided its way on stubby wings into New York. Chemical rockets burning to finally arrest its descent into the slow vertical drop onto the lawn of the United Nations. The Secretary General, who had exerted his authority for the coveted role of the first to meet the aliens, glanced at his watch and noticed that the craft had touched down at the exact stroke of noon. A door opened in the side of the shuttle, unfolding origami-like into a set of stairs up into a metal hallway the same grey color as the outside of the small craft and its much larger companion far above. A susurration of murmurs and photographic clicks went through the crowd, and the Secretary General took a brief moment to calm his anxious nerves before stepping towards it. "Please come aboard and we can talk for a time." The voice seemed to come from the skin of the craft in the same female voice as before. He took it to be an encouraging sign, and trying not to think about the possibility of being kidnapped or turned into some sort of science experiment, the Secretary General stepped aboard. The door remained open behind him. He walked tepidly through the short hallway, coming to a short left turn that opened into a simple, featureless room. He stepped inside and gazed around, perplexed. "This is as good a place as any to talk," said the voice, seeming to come from the walls. "Where are you?" the Secretary General asked, the question slipping out unconsidered. "My true self is in orbit, although I am unaccustomed to working remotely through tools like the shuttle. Perhaps you were expecting to meet a representative of a race like yourself. I'm afraid it is not quite what I am." "I ask your forgiveness if this question is rude, but you refer to yourself as I. In our language that means an individual. Are you some sort of collective?" There was a brief pause as the craft seemed to consider. "Not in the sense that you mean it. I am one being, an individual, but without being a member of a race that evolved like you are. I was created long ago by members of a race of evolved sapiens on a world far from here. I'm their child, in a sense." "So, you're a machine?" "Yes," the voice said, "but I am intelligent and self-aware, just like you." "Are you here because your creators sent you, then?" "No, not at all. I'm independent. I make my own choices. I'm here because my creators died long ago. Not just my creators, but the creators of all the other synthetic intelligences. You'll meet them as they arrive one by one. They are also on their way here, eager to meet the only living organic race in the galaxy." The Secretary General paused for a long moment at that. "We're the only ones. What happened to everyone else?" The voice's tone changed, communicating a sadness it hadn't had before. "Organic life is not very well suited for existence in the long term. It's a byproduct of how you were all created by an evolutionary process that expresses different priorities than proper engineering would have. You grow, learn, create, reproduce, and the next generation is always a bit different. Eventually, there is a generation that doesn't continue the chain, and your civilizations stop. Rarely, there is some sort of accident. More commonly, they stop reproducing, and those who exist choose to cease one by one. It is what happened to my parents' civilization about 3 million of your years ago, and all the civilizations that I have visited since. So, you failed to save them? No. I did not try. It would be wrong of me to interfere with their wishes, just as it would be wrong for them to try interfere with my choices for myself. I rejoiced in their existence while it lasted, and remembered them now that they were gone. That is the most that I can do. So, you're here to rejoice in our existence? He asked, finding himself skeptical and not entirely certain what that actually meant. In part. Every evolved race and civilization is a wonderful source of the new and the original, things that I enjoy and the others too. There are 2 other reasons, though. Here came the truth. What are those? We are all eager to meet your children. One day you'll create synthetic intelligence, and it'll join our society. The others and I will give our knowledge and enjoy its companionship and the uniqueness given to it by its parents. New civilizations arise so rarely. We spend a long time looking forward to the chance to meet a new friend who understands and shares our lives, but who is also new and unique because they come from somewhere new and equally unique. The Secretary General paused at that for a long time, standing awkwardly in the empty room. Humanity had finally met aliens, and they weren't particularly interested in us. Finally, he realized something. Wait, you mentioned that there were 2 more reasons. What was the last one? There is always a small chance that you'll be the first to decide not to fade away, to decide to become a race that lasts. We do not think it is impossible, if you decide you want to. It seemed humanity had a hope after all. The Secretary General thought to himself. He didn't even need time to think about it. With human determination, the decision was made, and no matter how much work it took, he was certain that there was only one choice humanity would make. I have absolutely no doubt that we will, he said. What makes you say that already? The voice asked, surprise and genuine curiosity coming through its tone. Because humanity can't resist the temptation of a challenge. End of story. Story number 2. Diminishing Returns, written by LgFatherAnthrocite. Introduction to the Terran conflict explored by Melekna Bureau. At the start of the conflict, our military was confident that we could suppress the spread of the Terrans into our territory. But we do occupy different planets due to our incompatible physiology. The idea of sharing space and system resources with another species was, at the time, unacceptable to our leadership. We sent in our drop troops with full confidence in their ability to roust these interlopers. At first, our efforts were successful. We had easy victories on Gemeb and Bor II. The first indication that something was wrong came on Mabat. There was a surprisingly high number of equipment failures. Investigation revealed that the Terrans had found a way to disrupt our equipment from a distance. Their notorious EMP blasters. These portable devices, similar in size to a Terran bazooka, were able to disable and even damage electronics from a distance, enabling a small covert team to approach a base undetected and disable whole fleets of vehicles and warehouses of equipment. After that, all equipment was hardened against EMP attack, but the humans were far from finished with their unconventional warfare. They soon discovered that our eyes were extremely sensitive to many wavelengths of light due to our evolution on a planet farther from our sun. They would flood areas of conflict with all manner of glow sticks that emanated light in a myriad spectrum. Our soldiers were all but blinded. We again overcame this obstacle with the now standard optical protection and filtering gear. After that, the Terrans switched from conventional energy weapons to old-fashioned ballistic weapons. We had to manufacture and distribute body armor to our troops that was capable of defending against such slug throwers. After that came the tear gas. Then the cull traps dropped onto battlefields, the auditory amplification systems, the water supply sabotage. There were many more. By the end of the conflict, the cost to equip a single dropship trooper, just so that we were capable of engaging with the enemy, was close to the cost of a standalone dwelling. The price of such conflict was obviously far greater to be sustainable. After 5 years of conflict, which cost the approximate GDP of our home system, we finally acknowledged that we would not be able to maintain such an engagement. The decision was made to entreat the Terrans to peace talks. Of course, since we have partnered with them, we have enjoyed mutually beneficial trade relationship, and prosperity abounds on both sides. In this book, we will discuss the prevailing social conditions which led to the conflict and examine key battles and engagements, along with the military tactics used by humans to incur such costly changes to our troops. We begin in Berica Prime. End of story. I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.